Years had a way of fading everything except the things that mattered most. Commander Elias Kane had spent the last 7 years convincing himself that Lyra, the alien woman he had met on Zyra 9, was a memory he should let go. He told himself that she was from another world, that their bond was impossible, and that clinging to her would only distract him from his duties. Yet every evening, as the station's lights dimmed and Earth's blue sphere rotated silently below him, her face returned. Her eyes, the strange iridescent light that shifted with her emotions, the quiet strength she carried, it was all there in his mind. Elias had not expected that the memory would be this vivid even after all this time. He often found himself staring out at the stars, imagining the strange world where they had first met. Zyra 9 was not like anything humanity had known before. Its forests glowed faintly at night, not from artificial lights but from the natural energy that pulsed through every living thing. The sky shimmered with multiple moons, and the air carried a faint hum that resonated with life itself. It was there in that alien beauty that Elias had first seen her. Lyra had approached him cautiously at first. Her species did not speak in words but in colors, light, and a subtle flow of emotion. Humans had learned to translate some of it into sound, but the experience was more than mere communication. It was connection. When their eyes met, Elias had felt a strange warmth, a pull that transcended fear, danger, or reason. They had saved each other more than once during their mission. Where other humans might have panicked at the sudden appearance of the Zyran predators, she moved with calm certainty, guiding him through invisible paths. And in the quiet moments between danger and survival, they had spoken without words, sharing hopes, fears, and fragments of dreams. Now, sitting in the observation room of Earth's orbital research station, Elias tried to distract himself with routine tasks. The hum of the station's life support systems, the faint blinking of lights, and the distant voice of the station AI were familiar, but they did little to calm the storm of memories inside him. He had thrown himself into work, leading missions to survey nearby asteroids, coordinating experiments on orbital farms, and training new cadets. Yet nothing erased her image, nothing quelled the quiet ache in his chest. Then the station sensors detected something unusual. At first it was subtle, a faint reading on a sensor normally used to detect cosmic radiation. But it was moving, changing course. Not an asteroid, not a rogue satellite, something alive. Elias frowned, adjusting the readings. His fingers moved across the console quickly, checking the trajectory and energy signature. Nothing in the human catalog matched it, and then it spoke. Not with speakers, not through a calm line, but directly inside his mind. "Elias," the voice whispered, gentle yet unmistakable. His heart leapt. No one else could reach him like this, only her. "Lyra?" he asked aloud, though he already knew the answer. A pulse of soft light filled the room. The familiar iridescent glow of her presence appeared before him. She hovered outside the observation window, her form shaped by shimmering light, yet undeniably humanoid. Her gaze met his, and in that instant all the years of separation dissolved. The memory of her touch, her guidance, the bond they had formed, it all returned strong and undeniable. "I did not forget," she said, her voice threading through his thoughts. "I could not." Years of imagining reunions and conversations could not have prepared him for this. He took a deep breath. Danger. Humans had grown over the last decades, but not enough to rival the species Lyra's people had encountered across galaxies. They want to destroy Earth. We are still learning how to travel beyond our system. How could they see us as a threat? In her presence, the stars outside seemed dull. She was alive with energy, with intent. She was not merely visiting, she was here to change the course of events, and she had chosen him as the bridge between her people and humanity. "I don't know if I can," he began, but she interrupted, not unkindly but firmly. "You can because you must. And because I will not leave you to face this alone. We must act carefully and quietly. You have something they do not expect, human ingenuity, courage, and will. That is our weapon." This was about saving the entire planet with only a slim chance of success. And yet, for the first time in years, he felt that familiar spark that had drawn him to Lyra in the first place. She reached out, and though her hand was not solid, he felt it in his mind, the strange, warm connection that had allowed them to communicate so deeply before. Together, we can prepare. Together, we can make them see that humans are not so easily defeated. She led him through simulations of Vraxis tactics, showing him what their ships could do, how they moved, and what weaknesses they often overlooked. Elias, drawing on years of military and scientific experience, suggested adaptations, improvements, and strategies. Every suggestion she accepted with a ripple of light signaling approval. As they worked, the memory of their past collaboration resurfaced, not just as nostalgia, but as a source of real strength. Elias remembered the nights on Zyra 9 when they had faced dangers alone, improvising traps and escapes. He remembered the way she had taught him to see patterns in alien behavior, and the way he had saved her when a predator ambushed them. Every memory became a tool, every lesson a weapon. By the time Earth rotated beneath them, casting its pale blue light into the observation room, Elias knew that he was no longer the man who had resigned himself to memory and longing. He was part of something bigger, something that could change the fate of his planet. And Lyra was not just a memory anymore. She was real, present, and committed. She leaned closer to the window, her glow pulsing softly. "We will not fail," she said, "because you are human, and humans never give up." Inside, two beings from different worlds prepared for a future neither could predict. The galaxy was wide, full of dangers and mysteries, and for the first time in years, Elias felt ready to face it, not alone, but together with the one he had never forgotten. Hours later, when he finally allowed himself a moment to rest, Elias thought of Lyra as she floated silently outside the station. He could still feel her presence, the way her light seemed to echo in his mind. It was no longer just longing or memory, it was purpose. And purpose, he realized, was stronger than any fear. The galaxy was vast, Earth was fragile, but humanity, unpredictable and resilient, had found an unexpected ally. And for Elias, that was enough to rekindle hope, for survival, for love, and for the unimaginable adventures that lay ahead. The hum of the orbital station felt heavier that morning. Elias woke to the faint glow of Earth rising beneath the horizon, the blue curve stretching endlessly into the darkness. Lyra's presence had not left. Even as he opened his eyes, her iridescent light pulsed gently outside the observation window. Unlike before, it was not just a memory or a connection. It was real, persistent, and demanding attention. "You have questions," Lyra said, her voice threading directly into his mind, calm but urgent. Elias rubbed his temples. "I have 1,000. Where do I even start?" "You are the link, Elias, the one who can make humans survive." He felt the weight of responsibility pressing down, heavier than the vacuum outside the station. "Explain everything," he said finally. "Tell me what they are, what they want, and why humans." "Humans are unpredictable. You adapt in ways that defy their logic. You survive when all odds are against you. You create solutions that no one else would imagine. That is why they fear you, and that is why they will act against Earth before it can grow stronger. They have watched you, and they have judged. The Vraxis make decisions quickly, and they act decisively. You must prepare humanity before they arrive, and you must do it without revealing too much. Fear is a weapon they understand. Panic is something they can exploit. We cannot give them that advantage." He was a commander, trained to lead missions, coordinate teams, and solve problems under pressure. But this was a threat that spanned the galaxy, a danger that could destroy everyone he loved. And yet, looking at Lyra, he felt the same spark that had drawn him to her before. A quiet determination, a confidence born of experience and understanding. Somehow, with her guidance, he felt he might find a way. "What do we do first?" he asked. Lyra's light shimmered in a flowing pattern that suggested thought. "We identify the humans who can think beyond boundaries. Scientists, engineers, strategists, those who see possibilities where others see limits. They will be our foundation. With their help, we can build defenses and strategies that the Vraxis will not expect. Humans can achieve remarkable things when they are guided and when they understand the stakes." Lyra's guidance was precise. She knew their patterns, their strategies, and the ways they underestimated species they considered weaker. Elias contributed his knowledge of human behavior, intuition, and creativity. Together, they crafted strategies that combined alien foresight with human ingenuity, a combination that would make Earth unpredictable and dangerous to invade. As they worked, Elias noticed how Lyra's presence affected him. She was not just a partner in planning. She reminded him of why humans could achieve the impossible. Her admiration was not blind. It was based on observation, on the countless small victories humans had achieved. She reminded him of the first colony missions, the resilience of early explorers, the way humans had survived accidents and disasters that would have ended other species. It was both inspiring and humbling. Humans do not follow patterns like other species. Lyra said, pausing as her glow shifted to a calm blue. That is your strength. You improvise, you take risks. You make choices that no algorithm can predict. Leading scientists in physics and engineering, military tacticians, communications specialists, all individuals whose creativity and adaptability exceeded standard protocols. He knew convincing them would be challenging, but with Lyra's insight, he could frame the situation in a way they would understand without triggering panic. The first contact was with Dr. Mara Elson, a leading astrophysicist who had once been Elia's colleague. Lyra suggested he approach her carefully, presenting the Vraxis threat not as certain doom but as a challenge that could define humanity's future. Elias activated a secure channel. "Mara," he said cautiously, "I have something important to discuss with you. Something that cannot leave this room." She agreed to help, her mind already racing with ideas for defense systems, early warning sensors, and communications protocols that could confuse the Vraxis. Next came engineers, coders, strategists, all selected for their ability to think in unconventional ways. Each one was tested subtly, guided by Lyra's insight into patterns and behaviors, until Elias had a small, cohesive team capable of rapid innovation under extreme pressure. While preparations moved forward, Elias and Lyra also addressed another concern: training. Humanity's soldiers and crews were skilled, but they had never faced an enemy like the Vraxis, entities that could anticipate moves based on logic and patterns. Lyra demonstrated methods to enhance human intuition, sharing glimpses of how her species perceived strategy through emotion and light. The humans on the team began practicing unconventional simulations, learning to make decisions that were unpredictable, creative, and precise. As the days passed, Elias felt the weight of responsibility shift. The fear remained, but it was now mixed with purpose. Each time he saw humans solve problems in ways that impressed even Lyra, he felt a quiet pride. Humans were not merely surviving, they were learning to thrive under impossible conditions. And with Lyra's guidance, they were becoming something more than what the Vraxis expected. One evening, after a long cycle of planning, Elias and Lyra floated in the observation room, looking out at Earth. The planet was peaceful from this distance, oceans shimmering, clouds drifting lazily, unaware of the storm gathering in distant space. Elias sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. "How do we tell them?" he asked. "The rest of humanity, I mean without panic. The moment of revelation will come when it is needed. Until then, the humans we guide are our shield, our seed, and our hope." "You believe in us," he said, more to himself than to her. Lyra's light pulsed warmly. "I do, because I have seen it, because I have felt it, and because you, Elias, are a part of it. You are the bridge between what humans are and what they can become." The station's sensors picked up a distant anomaly, an object moving faster than any human craft could manage. It was cloaked, but Lyra's senses detected its energy signature immediately. "They are close," she said, her colors shifting to alert. "The Vraxis fleet is near the outer edge of the system. They are probing, testing defenses. It is not yet an attack, but it is a warning." The enormity of the task pressed down on him, yet he felt something else too, a spark of hope. Humans had always been underestimated. Time and again they had faced impossible odds and survived. With Lyra here, guiding and watching, he felt that humanity could not only survive but stand strong. As night fell over the station and Earth's glow deepened, Elias looked at Lyra. The past, the longing, and the memories were no longer distractions. They were fuel. She had returned for him, yes, but also for humanity. And now together they would face a challenge that would define the human race in ways no one had imagined. For the first time in years, Elias felt fully awake. The galaxy was dangerous, uncertain, and vast, but humanity had allies, strategy, and courage. And in that knowledge, he found resolve. The days on the orbital station passed in a blur of calculations, simulations, and quiet preparation. Elias had never felt more exhausted, yet more alive. Every human he had recruited, scientists, engineers, strategists, was working tirelessly, guided by both his experience and Lyra's insight. They were building more than technology. They were building a future, one that could withstand threats no one on Earth had even imagined. Lyra hovered nearby, her light pulsating softly as she observed. She moved through the station with the grace of someone both familiar and extraordinary, her form glowing faintly in every color that mirrored her thoughts and emotions. Her presence was calming, yet it carried authority. The humans respected her, even if they did not fully understand the depth of her abilities. And Elias, He had never been more aware of the contrast between human fragility and the potential that Lyra illuminated. "What we build here must not only defend," she said one evening, her voice threading gently through his mind. "It must confuse. They expect patterns, predictability. They will not expect humans to act without rules." They were small, almost invisible, but Lyra sensed them immediately. She guided Elias and his team to detect them early and to study their behavior. The probes were not destructive. They were scouts, testing, observing, recording. But their very presence confirmed what they had feared. The Vraxis were serious, and they were coming. Elias convened his team. They gathered around a holographic map of the solar system, the probe movements flickering like tiny sparks. "They're testing us," he said. "These aren't attacks yet, but we can't wait for that moment. We need to show them we are ready. It will slow them down, confuse them, but it's risky if they detect the deception." You surprise. Every day brought a new challenge, but Elias watched his team rise to meet it, improvising solutions, finding loopholes in their own systems, and thinking in ways even Lyra admitted were delightfully unpredictable. She did not simply guide him. She challenged him, pushed him to see possibilities beyond his training, beyond human logic. She shared glimpses of her own world, her species, values, and their history with civilizations like the Vraxis. He learned that her people had often observed species over centuries, judging their potential for good or harm. Humans, in their unpredictable and adaptable nature, had always intrigued her. One evening, as Earth's blue glow spilled across the observation deck, Elias asked, "Why me? Why did you choose to return for me, for humanity? Your species is still young, but your choices, your courage, your ability to act without fear, they matter. And I could not forget you because you embody the potential of humanity. You simply needed to see it for yourself." It hesitated, paused, and retreated slightly, confused by what it detected. Lyra's glow brightened. "See, you do not follow patterns, you make choices they cannot predict. That is your power." That will be their mistake. They crafted communication arrays that could mislead enemy sensors and even simulated attacks that would make a Vraxis commander doubt their own strategy. Despite the progress, Elias knew the real test had not yet come. The probes were merely scouts. The fleet would arrive eventually, and when it did, everything would change. But for the first time, he felt confident that humans had a chance, not because of their technology alone, but because of their adaptability, courage, and willingness to act unpredictably. One night, Elias found himself alone with Lyra in the observation room. Earth rotated silently below them, its oceans calm, its cities peaceful. "Do you think humanity is ready?" he asked quietly. Lyra's light shimmered thoughtfully. "They are ready in ways even they do not yet understand. Humans survive because they adapt, because they never give up, because they are willing to risk everything for one another. That is their strength. That is why I returned." And humans never give up. Every success strengthened their confidence, every failure became a lesson. Lyra observed quietly, her light pulsating with subtle emotion. "You learn quickly," she said one evening. "I have seen entire civilizations fail because they did not adapt. Humans, though young, are different. You think, you feel, and you act beyond what logic alone would dictate. That is why I returned." A distant flash in the darkness of space, almost imperceptible to the human eye, but Lyra sensed it immediately. "They are coming," she said, her light pulsing rapidly. "Not yet in force, but soon. This will test everything you have prepared. It is in courage, in choice, in the will to survive. That is what will save you and your people." Now, with the guidance of an alien ally and the ingenuity of their own people, they would face the greatest test yet. Elias turned to his team, who were already analyzing the fleet's movements and refining their strategies. He felt a swell of pride. "We've got work to do," he said. "Let's make sure they never underestimate us." "And remember," she said gently, "whatever happens, you do not face it alone. I am with you always." From the orbital station, Elias watched the stars streak past as distant signals flickered on the sensors. The Vraxis fleet was no longer hidden. Their presence had grown unmistakable. Thousands of ships moved in formations that were precise, efficient, and intimidating. Even now, Elias felt a pang of doubt. Could humanity withstand such a force? Could they survive what seemed inevitable? Lyra's light pulsed beside him, steady and calm. "Fear is natural," she said, "but it is also a choice. You can let it guide you or you can let it focus you. Humans survive because they choose. You will survive because you will act." "We've done everything we can from here," he said. "The fleet is massive, they know how to fight, can we really stop them?" That is what they cannot calculate. They scattered sensors to confuse the Vraxis, built decoys that mimicked larger fleets, and crafted communication protocols that allowed humans to coordinate in ways the Vraxis would never anticipate. Every idea Elias suggested, every improvisation his team made, layered upon Lyra's alien insights, produced results that were beyond what either species could achieve alone. Finally, the first wave arrived. Small strike ships moved into position, testing Earth's defenses and attempting to probe human responses. Elias and his team had prepared for this. The decoys activated, satellites shifted to alter gravitational signatures, and the communication arrays fed false patterns to the Vraxis sensors. The enemy faltered, scanning and recalculating. Humanity's first act of resistance was not explosive, but brilliant. Lyra's glow brightened. "See, they hesitate because you do not act as expected. They cannot predict your choices. That is your advantage." They aimed for key orbital stations and energy arrays, expecting humans to panic. But Elias and his team had prepared contingency plans. Using satellites and improvised orbital defenses, they created barriers that forced the Vraxis to redirect their attack. Communication between stations and defense networks allowed humans to coordinate instantly, moving resources and personnel faster than the Vraxis could predict. Lyra hovered near him, her light flashing in approval. "Humans are not soldiers only. You are thinkers, creators, and innovators. That is what makes you dangerous." Explosions in orbit, energy pulses, and the hum of machinery filled the station. Elias moved from console to console, coordinating human defenses, improvising when necessary. At one point, a Vraxis ship breached the outer defenses and targeted a station crew. Without hesitation, Elias initiated a rescue, guiding drones and crew to intercept. He watched as humans risked their lives to save one another, an instinct the Vraxis could not understand, a concept beyond their cold logic. Lyra's glow softened as she observed. "This is what makes humans remarkable. You act not for survival alone, but for one another. That is a form of strength we respect, yet rarely see." With each success, confidence grew and fear diminished. During a quiet moment between waves, Elias spoke to Lyra. "I can't believe we're holding them off, but how long can we keep this up? The fleet is huge. They'll adapt eventually." "You have that strength, Elias, and so does humanity." They enacted a plan that used the human capacity for improvisation to the fullest. Satellites moved in unpredictable patterns, creating gravitational distortions that redirected enemy fire, while decoy signals simulated larger human fleets approaching from multiple angles. The Vraxis hesitated, recalculated, and then withdrew, frustrated and confused by the unpredictability of human action. Elias allowed himself a brief moment of relief. "They are retreating," he said, though his voice carried disbelief. Lyra's glow softened, almost smiling. "Not entirely. They are adapting, but now they must respect humans. You have shown them what is possible when humans act together, when they think differently, when they refuse to follow the expected path." Every encounter strengthened their resolve and demonstrated a truth that Lyra had been trying to show him all along. Humans were capable of extraordinary things, even in the face of overwhelming odds. In the midst of battle, Elias observed something remarkable. Crews from various stations coordinated without direct orders, improvising solutions to problems he had not anticipated. A technician rerouted power to reinforce a shield at the exact moment a strike threatened a key system. A young engineer calculated a trajectory adjustment that redirected an enemy probe away from Earth entirely. Humans were not just surviving, they were thriving under pressure, embodying the unpredictability that Lyra had always admired. Lyra's glow pulsed brightly. "Do you see now? This is why I returned. This is why I sought you. Humans are not merely fragile beings. You are adaptable, brave, and creative. You survive because you choose to survive, not because the universe allows it." They had taken what seemed like impossible odds and turned them into a test of ingenuity and courage. Even Lyra's people, with all their experience, seemed impressed by the human ability to think beyond rules, to act outside patterns, and to improvise when necessary. The fleet's attacks continued over days, but Elias and his team had learned, adapted, and grown stronger with each encounter. The humans were no longer reacting. They were acting proactively, setting traps, confusing sensors, and forcing the Vraxis to waste resources on misdirection. Each success further demonstrated the central truth. Humans were not weak, not predictable, and certainly not to be underestimated. One evening, after a particularly intense exchange with a Vraxis fleet segment, Elias found a moment to breathe. Lyra hovered near him, her light pulsating gently in rhythm with her thoughts. "You have done well," she said. "Even now, when the fleet seems endless, you have found ways to resist. This is what makes humans remarkable. They will understand that humanity is not a species to conquer lightly. You are more than ordinary, and now you have proven it to the universe." Elias and his team continued their work, preparing for the battles yet to come, confident in the knowledge that humans had already shown their strength, resilience, and courage. The galaxy was vast and dangerous, but humanity had proven one undeniable truth. They would survive, adapt, and rise to challenges that no one, not even the most advanced alien species, could predict. Elias watched Lyra's glowing form beside him and realized that the bond they shared was more than memory or longing. It was a partnership forged in respect, admiration, and the shared goal of survival. Together, they had transformed fear into determination, doubt into strategy, and vulnerability into strength. The battle was far from over. The Vraxis fleet would return, stronger and more determined. But for the first time in centuries, Elias knew that humanity was not alone. They had an ally, they had strategy, and they had something the Vraxis could never calculate: the unpredictable, indomitable spirit of humans. And in that moment, as Earth rotated silently below and the stars bore witness to their resolve, Elias felt a quiet certainty. Humanity would endure, humanity would adapt, humanity would rise. And no matter how vast the galaxy or how fierce the enemies, the humans would face it all with courage, creativity, and an unbreakable will to survive. The stars stretched endlessly above, silent witnesses to the final moments before what could be humanity's greatest trial. Elias stood in the observation room of the orbital station, watching the Vraxis fleet move into formation near Earth. Their ships were vast, alien, and imposing, bristling with weapons and energy shields. Every human defense system had been tested, every strategy prepared, and yet Elias felt the same nervous tension he had felt before his first mission as a commander. This was bigger, far bigger. Lyra's glow pulsed beside him, steady and unwavering. "This is the moment you have prepared for," she said. "Everything you have done, every decision, every improvisation has led to this. Trust in humans, trust in yourself." The first strike came without warning. Small Vraxis ships, moving faster than any human craft, darted toward the orbital defenses. They expected chaos, panic, and a straightforward engagement. What they encountered instead was precision guided by human creativity. Satellites shifted, shields activated in unexpected sequences, and decoys mimicked entire fleets. The Vraxis hesitated, recalculated, and attacked again, but each time humans adapted, improvising faster than the aliens could predict. Lyra's light brightened with each successful defense. "Do you see? They cannot calculate humans, that is your strength." Engineers rerouted power to shields under attack, technicians deployed drones to intercept enemy fire, and scientists analyzed the alien energy signatures to find weaknesses. Every small victory mattered, and every human action compounded into a force the Vraxis had not anticipated. Even as the battle raged, Elias noticed the subtle but powerful human spirit at work. Soldiers risked their lives to save others, technicians improvised new weapons from existing materials, and every human under his command acted not out of fear, but out of determination to survive and protect each other. The Vraxis could calculate strength and speed, but they could not calculate courage, creativity, or empathy. In a critical moment, a Vraxis command ship targeted a key orbital hub that controlled the station's defense network. If it were destroyed, all human coordination would collapse. Elias acted instinctively. He guided a small strike team in a daring maneuver, using a combination of decoys, drones, and evasive orbital paths. Against overwhelming odds, they managed to intercept the command ship's attack, protecting the hub and forcing the Vraxis vessel to retreat. Lyra hovered near him, her glow pulsating with admiration. "This is what I hoped for. Humans survive because they act beyond logic, beyond fear. You have saved many today." The battle was far from over. The Vraxis fleet was massive and they would not give up easily, yet he felt a quiet confidence. Humans had learned, adapted, and proven themselves capable of extraordinary things. As the fight continued, Ilias coordinated with teams on Earth. Using advanced communication arrays, they directed orbital defenses, distributed energy resources, and ensured critical infrastructure remained functional. Humans on the ground and in orbit acted in harmony, their unpredictability creating a tapestry of resistance that confounded the Vraxis at every turn. Lyra's presence was constant. She guided, advised, and shared insights from her species' understanding of strategy, but she never overrode human decisions. Ilias realized that this was part of the reason humanity was succeeding. They were learning, adapting, and acting independently, using guidance only as a tool, not a crutch. Hours passed, and the Vraxis began to falter. Their attacks became less coordinated, slower, more hesitant. They were learning, but it was clear they were frustrated. Human unpredictability, combined with strategy and courage, had created a defense they had not anticipated. In the midst of the battle, Ilias noticed a young engineer directing a swarm of drones to intercept multiple Vraxis ships simultaneously. Her quick thinking saved countless lives, and Ilias felt a surge of pride. This was what humans could do: think fast, act decisively, and turn desperate situations into opportunities. Lyra's glow shimmered with approval. "Do you see? Each human contributes, each choice matters. This is why I returned. This is why I sought you. Humans are not weak, they are not simple. They are remarkable." A large energy beam was targeted at Earth's atmosphere, intended to disrupt communications and weaken planetary defenses. Ilias acted immediately. He guided orbital stations to intercept the beam using a combination of energy deflection and rapid orbital maneuvers. Humans worked seamlessly, improvising adjustments as the attack continued. It was a moment of pure human ingenuity and courage. Against a weapon designed to crush resistance, humans used their minds, their creativity, and their courage to turn the attack aside. The beam dispersed harmlessly into space, and the Vraxis fleet faltered, unable to predict the next move. Ilias allowed himself to breathe. For the first time, he felt that humanity had not only survived but had shown the galaxy what it was capable of. The final wave of the Vraxis fleet arrived, massive and imposing. Ilias and his team were ready. They used everything they had learned over the past cycles: decoys, unpredictable tactics, orbital maneuvers, and human courage to confront the enemy head-on. Every human action was deliberate, creative, and daring. The Vraxis expected calculation, but they encountered something they could not anticipate: determination, ingenuity, and an unbreakable will to survive. Lyra floated beside Ilias, her light shining brighter than ever. "This is your moment. Humans do not follow the expected path. Humans adapt. Humans survive. Now show them." He coordinated every human effort, guiding orbital defenses, directing rescue teams, and improvising solutions on the fly. Humans fought not just with weapons, but with their minds, their courage, and their unity. The battle reached its peak as a massive Vraxis flagship attempted a final assault. Ilias and Lyra worked together to intercept it, using decoys and human ingenuity to outmaneuver the ship. In a daring move, Ilias guided a human squad to infiltrate the ship using stealth drones, disabling key systems and forcing it to retreat. Lyra's light pulsed warmly. "They understand now. Humans are not easy to defeat. They will survive because they are unpredictable, courageous, and united. They will return eventually, but now they know that humans are a force to be reckoned with. They will approach with caution, and you, Ilias, have shown the potential of your species." Lyra had guided them, taught them, and inspired them to see what they were capable of. The following days were spent repairing stations, restoring Earth's orbital systems, and ensuring the planet remained safe. Humans worked tirelessly, their determination unwavering. Each repair, each innovation, each act of courage reinforced the truth that Lyra had long known: humanity was extraordinary. Ilias watched Earth from the observation deck, its blue oceans and green lands shining softly in the light of the distant sun. He thought of the battles, the risks, and the courage of those who had fought alongside him. He thought of Lyra, her presence a constant reminder of what humans could achieve when guided and inspired. Lyra floated beside him, her light calm and reassuring. "You have done well, Ilias. You have shown that humans are capable of more than even they realize, and you have reminded me why I returned. And one day, perhaps we will meet again, not as alien and human, but as allies, as equals among the stars." The Vraxis fleet had retreated, their calculations and expectations shattered by the unpredictability of human action. Humanity had proven its resilience, its ingenuity, and its capacity to rise to any challenge, and Elias knew that this was only the beginning. As Earth rotated silently below, Elias and Lyra looked toward the stars, aware that the galaxy was vast, full of danger, and yet filled with opportunity. Humanity had survived, and they had shown the universe what it meant to be human, adaptable, courageous, and unstoppable when united. For the first time in years, Elias felt true peace. The battle was over, Earth was safe, and humans had proven themselves worthy of the stars. And though Lyra would eventually return to her people, the bond they shared, born of respect, admiration, and shared purpose, would endure. Elias smiled, looking at the glow of Lyra's presence beside him. The galaxy was vast, and challenges awaited. But humanity, he realized, would face them all with courage, creativity, and an unbreakable will to survive. And one day, perhaps, he and Lyra would meet again, not as alien and human, but as partners in a galaxy that now knew the truth. Humans were a force to be reckoned with. The stars shone brightly above, silent witnesses to a species that had proven its strength, its resilience, and its boundless potential. And in the quiet of space, Elias allowed himself to hope, not just for survival, but for the future, for discovery, and for the endless possibilities that awaited humanity among the stars.